Kelsie here. I had a reader ask in Hoss's Hussies about the meaning behind the windmill, and I thought this would be a really great opportunity to get on video and just chat about it. So a little bit of background. In the Hello series and in Confessions of the Funny Fat Friend, the windmill is a very important symbol. To the Griffin siblings, it is a symbol of family, of love, of connection, of knowing that no matter how far they get away from each other, they will always be there for each other. To me, when I was writing this series, I put in a lot of myself and a lot of what I loved. And to me, a windmill has always been a symbol of home. We grew up in a very rural area. My family raised cattle and we had farmland. And almost every weekend we went to visit my grandma's house where most of these land and cattle are. And when you go up the hill to my grandma's house, the first thing you see is a bright red barn, which I love. And then you turn the corner and you could see the white stucco house, and over in the distance you could see the windmill. I guess it just really imprinted in my mind that wherever that windmill was, it really felt like home. You know, my grandma's house was a really special place to me. It was a place where I could go and be myself and be a kid and have fun and explore, and I didn't have to worry about school or anything going on at home, and I knew that my grandma would love me and treat me and spoil me. And even though none of us ever actually talked specifically about windmills or how special they were, we all knew how important they were to our family as people who raised cattle in a pretty arid location. So eastern Kansas gets a lot of rain, but western Kansas is very dry. Average annual rainfall is under 20 inches, which is not very much. And so a lot of times you either had a windmill that would pump water from the ground and pour it into the tank, or you had to haul water and fill tanks, you know, in your truck and carry them as far as you needed to go to get your cattle water. And so having a windmill was something really special, and it was something that you took care of because it brought so much life. I remember visiting old homesteads with, you know, homes that they made in the early 1900s or late 1800s, and even though the house had fallen into disrepair and no one lived there anymore, it was more or less abandoned, there was usually a windmill there. And one windmill that we went to, you know, we were exploring around the old house, seeing what we could find. There were little things called wheat pennies, and it said 1 cent and it had wheat around it. And we would always search for wheat pennies. And we were looking around and we walked over to the windmill, and hanging on the windmill, we found a little tin cup. Like this person who had lived in this home would walk to the windmill every morning and get himself a drink of water. And I just think that's so cool. I think that windmills and a lot of country life is very understated. It's something that you always see and it always kind of fades into the background, right? Like you've probably driven past a million windmills on the road, and they don't really feel special until you think about them a little bit more and what they mean and what they provide. So for me, it was a really special symbol. And I am including a photo that my aunt took of the windmill at my grandma's house, and that was my uncle's house. I think it's beautiful. It might not be a beach or a mountain or, you know, the Alps or a fancy city, but it's special all the same, and it really feels like home. And I hope that every time you see a windmill, you're reminded that you always have a home in these stories and that they were created with a lot of love for you. Okay, bye.